Hi everyone, once again a very warm welcome to the new episode of my YouTube channel. So this is the second episode on how I learned English. So if you have not yet watched the episode 1, you can check my description. I have provided you the link. Using that link, you can watch the episode 1. In this video, I'm going to discuss that how I gradually became fluent in English. So I managed to make my base on my class 8th, and now my 8 is finished and I came to class 9. So when I was on my 8, I was just writing English and then learning English, translating things in English, but I was not really speaking in English. Like for whole 1 year, I had one book which is provided by my mom. So I used to translate the words in English. So these kind of thing I used to do when I was on my 8th class. So when I reached to class 9th, my teacher selected me for the science fair. So if you are studying or staying in West Bengal or Kolkata, you might know that at the end of every session or at the beginning of any session, we used to do some activities. Sometimes it may be annual function, then we do drawing competitions and then science fair like this. So that was the beginning of my session and there was one science fair and my teacher selected me for that particular science fair. So we made a project on physics and the name of that project was solar cooker. So I prepared a chart and also some of the model I made. When I started, and I was so nervous while I was preparing for this kind of things, and at the same time a kind of happiness was coming because I am going to represent my school. So I made a chart. I worked for 7 days to make that particular chart. So after completing that particular chart, I went to the school and showed it to my tutors. So my teachers saw that chart and verified it, and they said that okay, it's nice, you can demonstrate this one on the science fair. So okay, that's really good, and I was really prepared for the science fair. My science fair was on the second week of February, as far as I know. So I went to the science fair and I make sure that whatever the demonstration I'm going to give, that should be in English. I am not going to use any other language while I was demonstrating. So as you can see that I have not spoken in English before. When I was in my 8, I was just speaking my own regional language. And the time I reached 9, I made the decision that when I'll demonstrate my project, I'm going to explain each and everything in English. There should not be any regional word in between. So I made a pledge and I went to the fair. I learned each and everything. So that was the beginning of my session, and I don't had any of the pressure of my classes. So the classes was just going to begin by that time, so there was no pressure of my academics. So I closed all my books and copies and started preparing for my science fair full-fledgedly. I made the chart. I learned the whole chart. I learned the demonstration, how am I going to demonstrate things, then what are the scientific facts behind that particular project, then what are the questions that they are going to ask me. I prepared each and everything to the best way I can. And finally I went to the science fair. The day came when I was going to demonstrate things on the science fair. So when I reached, there were a lot of school participated in that science fair, and all the student was excellent performer. They were very good looking. With the same time, they were explaining so well, and I literally got nervous at that point of time because so many students were there to represent their own school. And I was one of them. I was selected for that particular thing, and that was really a great responsibility in front of my eyes. And I saw a lot of people doing their best and better than mine. So I started crying at that point of time. I sat on my stall and I called my mom and I said that, Mom, I cannot make this possible. It's too tough. It's too tough for me. So I was shattered. My mom at that time got really nervous by listening to words that I said, and she again called me. If you don't know, my mom works and my father also working member, so she don't stays at home so that she could come running. So it doesn't happen. She called me again and then she made me understand that those people are one of us, okay? They are not aliens who came from other planet and explaining all the things. They are like you only. The way you are studying in your school, in that same way they are studying. So if you are doing your best, that's what matters to me. So you have to do your best no matter what it takes. So that kind of words encouraged me, and I somehow accumulate my feelings, and I be strong at that point of time, and stood up and I said that okay, I am going to make it no matter what it takes. So as I took the pledge that I am going to speak each and everything in English, so that was the first challenge in front of my eyes. So at first my subject teacher came, my favorite subject teacher of science, and she asked me to explain the whole thing that you have learned. So I told my ma'am the problem, that I am getting so nervous. So she also explained me like my mother. So I'm so grateful to have that kind of teachers in my school. So I explained her, and at my first demonstration I had a lot of mistakes, like the way I was speaking, my body language was not matching with my explanation. So there was a lot of things that I have to make change. So she called our English teacher and different subject teacher to teach me how am I going to explain things. So some of my teacher taught me how to behave while you're explaining, what can be your body expression at that point of time, and how many grammatical errors you are doing, what are the concepts that you should demonstrate first, okay, which concept you should highlight, what kind of question they are going to ask. So this kind of random questions, they made me understand. So I got an idea that how am I going to explain things. So that's how it began. Then she told me to do the rehearsal and then again explain me. So like 1 hour, for 1 hour I practiced the way they have taught, and I called one of my teacher whom I am very comfortable with. So she came and she told me that be comfortable, be free, I am not going to eat you, so you have to explain me everything to the best way you know. So I first calm down, I take a deep breath, and then I explain whatever I have understood in that project. I explained her about the pros and cons of that particular project, why we are using that particular element, and what are the principles behind that particular things. So she literally liked my demonstration, and she finally said that now you are eligible to demonstrate things to the others. So she verified it and she gave me a thumbs up, so that's a good part. Then I started explaining to the strangers. Now the best part of having a stranger is that like your relationship with that particular stranger is for 5 to 6 minutes, and after that you are not going to meet with that stranger anymore. So by that time, if you do any of the mistake in between, no one is going to judge you, first of all, and second of all, you can practice with those strangers. So as I said that I was verified by my teachers. So the first stranger came and he was very skeptical about physics and science. Like by looking at her face, I was so sure that she's going to ask me a lot of questions. So I explained her the way my teacher taught me, okay. So she asked me the laws of reflection and some of the questions. I explained her to the best way I can. So that gave me the confidence, and she gave a good judgment. The review that I got from her was nice. She gave me very good and all that. So that again boosted her confidence. So for that particular day, I explained around 15 strangers as far as I remember, and they literally liked it. No one of them reviewed negative comments. So like all their comments were so positive, and they literally understood what I wanted to explain to them in English. So that really boosted my confidence. Now my teacher said that was the first day, so I don't want to give you that much of pressure. You better practice for the second day. Now give other students the chance to demonstrate. So I was like, okay ma'am, thank you so much for that much of help that you have provided. So she said that no, that's really fine, you are doing your best. So second day came, and second day was very, very hectic for me, because it was not just one people whom I am going to explain. There were ample amount of crowd at that place. So many people came to visit the whole science fair, and I was so nervous, so confused, and had no clue that what is happening at that point of time. I was like, how am I going to explain this much of people? Like 5 to 10,000 people were there, and they were roaming throughout the whole park, and it was a park where we had a stalls and we used to do that particular fair. So many people came, and again my teacher was behind me and was popping me up that you can do it, you can do it. So I explained like again 10 to 15 of the people, and that day was the turning point of my life. Believe me, that day was the turning point of my life. Why am I saying this? Because that was the day I talked in English throughout the day. I came to like do the demonstration at 12 o'clock from my school, and I ended the whole demonstration at 7 p.m. So you can understand that how rigorously I worked to make that organization or make that fair successful. So I explained around 50 to 60 people, or more than that, maybe, I don't remember that much. So I kept on explaining all of them, and each and everything in English. I have not used any other language except English. I was only explaining to those who are not comfortable with English and asking me to explain in their own regional language. So I explained to only them, and rather except those, I talked in English throughout the day. And that actually boosted the confidence of my heart, and I was talking to a lot of stranger. I got a lot of people to communicate at that point of time, because when you are staying at limited community, like I was going to school at that point of time and I coming back home, so there was no extra atmosphere that I was getting. There was only few of my friends, few of my teachers, and my family members whom I was meeting with. So I don't really have the communication with other people. So I was not getting the atmosphere at that point of time. So the time I went to the science fair, and I got to know a lot of people, and they were talking to me in English. They were making me comfortable so that I could be more confident while I was explaining. So that was really a great experience, and that will be on my heart throughout my life. So that was the turning point of my life, and I spoke in English throughout the day. Now the third and last day came. So my demonstration was not heard by my parents. Like, my parents don't came to the science fair and heard my demonstration because of some job that they were doing. So third day I invited my parents, and I said that I want to demonstrate all of you. You please come and listen to my demonstration live on the science fair. So my parents got very happy, and they were so excited to come to see me at science fair. So what actually happened, that I was waiting for them, that when they are going to come. So I told them to come at evening time, because they had a job, so they have to work first and then they can come. So I didn't force them really to come at the time I wanted. So I told them, if you have the time, you come at evening. And my parents were so excited that they came at 2 o'clock, and not alone. My father came with his friends, like 2 or 3 friends, and my mom came with her parents. Like, my maternal grandfather and grandmother came, my father's friends came, and they all are super excited to listen to my demonstration. And I was so nervous. Like, when I saw them, my whole body started shivering. I was like, what just happened? How am I going to explain all of them? And I was like, no, that's not the way I was, and I cannot explain them everything. So they came and stood in front of my stall, and the whole stall was covered by my family members. All the people was going here and there, and my whole stall was covered by my family members. And I was so nervous, like so nervous. I don't had a single word to explain it to them. So by looking at my face, my mom understood that what is happening to my mind. She somehow managed to tell, to convince. She somehow convinced all my family members to first look into the other stall, and then we will come to see our daughter's demonstration. So they were not ready at all, because they specifically come to see my demonstration and I was not ready for that. So they went, somehow she convinced through the best way she can. So they went to look into the other stalls and all that. By that time she entered into the stall, my mom, and she explained me that you don't have to be that much of nervous, they're not ghost, okay? So don't be that much of nervous, it's not the end of your life, okay? You might do a lot of mistake at that point of time, and it's your right to make mistake, because you are a student, and if you don't make mistake you are not going to learn anything. So she told me, she made me understand, and somehow I accumulated again, and I said that okay, I'm ready to demonstrate my family members. So after roaming like 5 to 6 stalls, they came to see my stall again, and again my whole stall was covered by them, and that was the last day of my demonstration. So I started explaining that what this project is all about, what is the motto behind making this project, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of having that project. So they literally liked it, and they said that you literally have confidence and you are doing your best. So somehow it went so well, and that was the proud moment for me, because my parents were so proud and they was looking at my face, smiling and becoming happy. So they gave me the judgments on my book. There was one book provided by our school, so they gave me all the judgments, and they went back to their home. But still there was the lack of fluency, there was the lack of vocabulary, because the people whom I was talking with was not also that much of skilled in that particular thing, so that they could explain me things properly. So still I was not having that much of fluency on my English, but I managed to prepare that confidence of speaking in English. Now if I go somewhere outside and somebody asks me, so I will not feel hesitated at that point of time. So this was it. In next video I'm going to discuss how I gradually became fluent in English. So if you really want to watch that third episode, please like, share and subscribe this video. Your support really matters to me, and thank you so much for supporting my last video. Thank you so much. And follow my Instagram account if you want. My Instagram handle I have provided you on my description and also on the screen, you can see that. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep loving and keep supporting. Bye bye, have a nice day.